Hey, what's up? Hello, Katie here. Welcome back to my channel, and we're here to do my favorite content, a book unhaul. I love watching people's book unhauls. Like, seriously, if you've made a book unhaul, I've watched it. I don't care if you made it 3 days ago, I've seen it. Like, I watch all of them. I love it so much. It's so cathartic. I'm obsessed. And this unhaul for me is going to be pretty big because I am moving, and these are all the books in the past, like, month or 2 months that I have stuck behind my closet door being like, I'm either not going to read those or I've read them and I don't want to pack them up, unpack them, put them on my shelves. I don't want to bring that into my new environment, so I am going to let them go. Now, I will tell you that there is a second stack of books that is still behind my closet door. I'm looking at them right now. They are tempting me. Of books I'm not sure if I want to get rid of, and I'm not ready to commit to getting rid of them just yet. A couple of them are books I have not read, some of them are ones I have, and I just don't know how I feel, so I have them back there, and what I'm going to do is at the end of this video, I'm going to attach a secondary clip of right before I move, like the day before, 2 days before, or something like that, and it's going to be the split-second, down-to-the-wire decision of whether or not I'm going to keep those books. Not going to tell you what they are yet. You'll see it at the end of the video because I have commitment issues on these books. I'm not sure. But anyway, the stack of books I am getting rid of is quite large. I have it all stacked up right next to me, and it's halfway up my thigh, and I'm 5'8". So that's a lot of books. We need to get into it. There are 2 books that recently left my possession, but I forgot that I was going to film this video, so I went ahead and unhauled them. The first of which being Beatried by Emily Henry. I found this in my little free library, and I really, really liked it. I gave it 4 stars, but I feel like if I am going to reread this book, it's going to be on audio. Like, it's an adult romance. I thought it was very sweet. I really liked the story, really liked the relationship and the characters. But it wasn't like a 5-star, it's not a favorite, and I can get the audio, like, not super easily, but I can get it from the library. So I went ahead and sent it right back to the free little library that I got it at so that someone else can enjoy it. Another free little library unhaul is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I was reading this while I was walking around my neighborhood, and I DNF'd it midway through the walk, literally walked right up to the free library, put it in there, closed it, and walked right home. I DNF'd it. I think that Tamsin Muir has so much potential. You're going to see this later, spoiler alert, with another one of her books, but she has so much potential, and I want to love the book so badly, but they don't make any dang sense. They don't make any sense. They seriously are so convoluted, and it's... I want to love it. I want her to just stop writing the series and start something new that I can enjoy because it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, let's move on to the books that I still have that I need to unhaul. Next, I have a stack of books that was gifted to me by a coworker that her and I have kind of similar taste in terms of genres and maybe in terms of authors, but not their specific books. And I think that if I wasn't in the booktube community, I might have enjoyed these books a little bit more, but because I've read more in-depth, maybe better books by that author or more in-depth in that genre, these are just not things that I'm either going to read or that I've already given 3 stars. She did gift me The Woman in the Window, which I unhauled, and then there was another book by Sherry Lapina that I unhauled. I don't remember. But she gifted me Someone We Know by Sherry Lapina, and I have not heard stellar things about this. I've heard, like, okay things, like people saying, yeah, it was 3 stars, okay. And listen, okay, The Couple Next Door, I gave 4 stars. I gave A Stranger in the House 1 star and wished I DNF'd it. And if I'm going to read this book by Sherry Lapina, it's not going to be in this mass market paperback, so I'm going to get rid of this. And then she also gifted me a book by Harlan Coben, and it is The Boy from the Woods. Now, I have heard, again, okay things about Harlan Coben. I think that the people in the booktube community that are really interested in thrillers and mysteries are not huge Harlan Coben fans. Like, usually people give him 3 stars because it's just not, like, gritty enough or interesting enough. And from his summaries, I feel like I would feel the same way. Like, I'm just not going to read this. I'm not going to read it. So I'm going to be unhauling that. And then she also gifted me, this one I'm not sure about, but she gifted me Good Girl, Bad Girl by Michael Robotham, author of The Secret She Keeps. I have not read that, but it is blurbed by Karen Slaughter. And I'm like, I just don't know if I'm going to read this. Like, I'm not saying this is a bad book. Like, maybe this is good. Maybe it is. One of the characters' names is Angel Face. I don't like that. I don't know. I just don't think that I like am intrigued to read it, so I'm gonna pass it on. Like, thank you to the girl that gave it to me. But also another one where I love the author, but I'm just not intrigued is Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This is definitely one that Gabby read and said that the TV show is way better. And this book is freaking huge. Like, good God. I mean, I know it's... That is hilarious. She used one of our slips of at the restaurant we work at. She needed to buy oregano, pins, charcoal, body wash, and fennel seed when she was on chapter 12. Interesting. I love Kristen Hanna, but I'm just not interested to read this. A book I read and immediately knew I was going to get rid of is The Patient by Jasper DeWitt. I get this 1 star. This book... So for me, my star ratings, obviously they're subjective in terms of enjoyment and the genre, but pretty much through a line through all the books I've read is that 5 star is like, this is fantastic. 4 star is, this is really good. 3 star is, that's fine. 2 is, you know, no. And 1 star is that it made me mad for some reason. Like, there's something about it that made me angry, and this book definitely made me angry. Like, I can't stand that trope, like the silent patient trope of like the male psychiatrist that has such a God complex, a superiority complex, that thinks that they are the one man in the world that can save this person and no one else can save them but him. And I can't stand that. And this really did read a lot like The Silent Patient, except it read like an arc. Like, there was moments where there was like repeated, like there was like double negatives, there were repeated words, there were things that the author would say and then a couple pages later would negate. And I'm like, I feel like this needed to be edited. And it doesn't say anywhere on it that it's an arc, and it has a published date and everything. So I'm like, it's a no from me. I didn't like it. The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I am going to be getting rid of this book because I have already reread it and I don't see myself reading it a 3rd time. I do also own the audiobook, so I could always consume it in that way. But this book, I do think is good. I think this is good. I had it on my favorite shelf and a 5 out of 5 stars from when I read it like 6 or 7 years ago. But when I reread it this year, I noticed things about it that I didn't like because Peter Swanson has things in his writing that I don't like. I just don't like it. And I've read a couple other books of his since having read this, and I hated all of them. Well, every value break was like fine, I guess, but I didn't really like it that much. But The Kind Worth Killing, I bumped it down to a 4 star. I think that if you've never read this book before, I would definitely recommend it. It is so unique and interesting, but there's just some really, I don't know. There's just some stuff Peter Swanson does that makes me be like, why do that? Why? So I would recommend it, but I'm not going to keep it. Another book that I would recommend, but I'm going to be parting ways with, is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Penborough. I really liked this. I really liked it. I love the ending, which apparently is very hit or miss with people. Like, they either can't stand the ending and think it's terrible, or they love it. I definitely fall into the latter category. I really enjoyed the ending. I thought it was very shocking. Very, like, the twist was just so wild. I really enjoyed it. But I can't see myself rereading it. Like, I thought that I would, but then now I'm like, I feel like I would reread it and not like it that much. I think it was the thrill of reading it for the first time. So if you don't know the plot twist in this, I definitely suggest it. I really like it, but I don't see myself rereading it. Never fear. I feel like you're going to see these books and be like, Katie, who are you? This Savage Song, Our Dark Duet, both by Victoria Schwab. This is the Monsters of Verity duology. Never fret. I have duplicate copies of these books. These are the ones that I originally read years ago, and I carried them around in my book bag, and they are pretty beat up. I love these. I think the paperbacks are gorgeous. They're stunning. They feel like paper floppy bricks, which we love to see it. But I was gifted the hardcover set, and they are so stunning, and I love them. They look so beautiful with all my other editions of Victoria Schwab, so I'm going to be keeping those and gifting this to someone who can hopefully read it for the first time and fall in love with it. I will say, these books, this is so interesting. Victoria Schwab, everybody kind of is polarized on the book that they think is her unsung hero. And I feel like everybody has this opinion. Like, everybody has an opinion that one of her books is underrated. A lot of people, like half the people think it's The Archived and the other half think it's The Savage Song. I'm definitely the latter. I think it's The Savage Song. I think this book is not talked about enough. I think the series is fantastic. The Archived, I have long since, well, just like last month, I think I unhauled both of my editions of those books. It's fine, but it's not like that great. But this series, this is fantastic. This is so good. It's so interesting. I know that it's a YA. I know it was written a while ago, but she just does such incredible work in here. Like, I think the world building is really good. I mean, it's not like epic fantasy by any means, but it's intriguing. It's entertaining. It's so fascinating. I love that it's a duology. I love the characters. I love the main character's relationship. I think it's just, read these books. Now I'm going to talk about the Book of the Month books that I have received recently that I do not think I'm going to read, and the ones that I might read, I'd read on audio. The first of which being one I definitely would read on audio, which is The Sweetest Remedy by Jane Igharo. I think this cover is stunning, but I just, being like an adult romance, or actually it's not a romance, I think it's a contemporary fiction. I don't know. Either way, those are not books that I ever keep on my shelves. So I think that because this is in brand new condition and the book did come out very recently, this is one that if I take it to a little free library, people will be so excited to find this book, and it will be loved by someone who maybe has a library and keeps all their books, or would want to keep something like contemporary fiction on their shelf, but that just isn't me. The Neighbor's Secret by L. Alison Heller. I'm going to be getting rid of this book because the few people that I've seen read it that I know did not like it and gave it 2 or 3 stars and just didn't think it was that good. And I just don't think that's worth my time. Like, it's a mystery and the summary sounds intriguing, but I feel like later on the line, if I hear more people that I know reading it and loving it, I'll just pick up the audio, but I'm just not interested anymore in reading this physically. This one is hilarious. Okay, so you're looking at this like, oh, it's Beautiful Country by Qian Julie Wang. No, it's not. No, it's not. So I have to show you something. This is hysterical. So Book of the Month sent this, and there was some sort of, I can't remember what the problem was with shipping Beautiful Country, but it didn't ship, and they sent The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager instead, and that is a book that I have read and did not enjoy, so I'm definitely going to pass this one on. I know it looks like it's Beautiful Country, but don't pay attention to that. It's actually The Last Time I Lied. The last book of the month that I have not already read is Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. I am still very intrigued in this, but I don't see myself reading it anytime soon. It's a YA contemporary fiction. It's like a lot of romance. I have read Everything, and The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon and loved them. But that was years ago when I was like a little bit more in the YA community, and I just don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna read this and like actually care. So I feel like I could read it, but I don't think I will. A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is clearly a secondary copy that I have. I have 2 of these books and they're the exact same edition, but this one has a lot of damage from when I tried to take the sticker off and I ended up ripping the book. So clearly I'm gonna keep the other one, and I love this book. I do. Okay, I'm not here to lie to you and say that I don't love ACOTAR because I am trash. But I'm just gonna get rid of this one because I don't need 2 copies. An Anonymous Girl and the Wife Between Us by Sarah Pekkanen and Greer Hendricks. I actually just read this in September. I gave An Anonymous Girl 3 stars, and I DNF'd The Wife Between Us at 80% and gave it 2 stars. I can barely even remember what happens in this book. That's how bored I was. It's not bad, but it was boring. And then An Anonymous Girl, I liked. I thought it was okay, but I don't need to keep it. It's not something I'll ever reread. And it just solidifies in my mind that this author duo is just fun and flashy, but that their books aren't great. I already talked about this before, but I am going to be unhauling Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. Do you see how stunning this cover is? I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed to get rid of this book. There's so much of this that I absolutely loved. Like, nitpicking little things, I would just pluck out sentences and be like, that's stunning. I love this author. But the author also writes the most complicated, convoluted, sci-fi, crazy, random shit. And it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I swear I had to watch a YouTube video of these 2 girls explaining everything that happens in the book. And then while I was like halfway through, and then I had to go back and listen to it again because that was the only way it made a modicum of sense to me. Like, a modicum of sense. So I'm going to, sadly, be parting ways with this book. Sour Candy by Keelan Patrick Burke. This is a novella that I really loved. I think I gave this one 4 or 4.5 stars. Probably 4.5 stars. I really liked it. It's very short. It's very fun. I thought about keeping this to reread it, but I don't think I need to. Like, it's a short story. It's not like if I reread it, I would get some joy of like character development or romance or fantasy. It's just the thrill, and then now I've read it and the thrill is over. I do really want this to be made into a movie or like a Black Mirror episode, because I really liked it and I definitely recommend it. But again, like I've said before, am I going to reread it? Warning before you all lose your freaking mind. Calm down. Sit down. There's a reason. Bunny by Mona Awad. I know, you're screaming, Katie, what? It's like your whole brand. Exactly. I have 3 copies of this book. I have the ARC, I have the paperback, and I have the hardcover. I'm actually rereading the hardcover right now. Love it. 5 out of 5 stars. Fantastic. And then the paperback is sitting in my I don't know pile. Because do I need 2 copies of this book? This one was in the I don't know pile until I just started filming, because I was like, I don't want to get rid of it. It's stunning. Like, all the covers look completely different. So this one is the ARC, and I was like, Katie, you don't need the ARC. You don't need the ARC. And the only thing that's getting me to part ways with this copy is that I want to gift it to someone. So I'm either going to gift it to Grace, or I'm going to gift it to a coworker, like anyone that I can shove this book down their throat. This might be the communal copy is what's going to happen, is I'm going to gift it to people, they're going to give it back, and I'm going to immediately gift it to someone else, because I need more people to read this book to tell me what they think is happening, because this book is so weird. It's a certified weirdo. And the first time I read it, my mind was freaking blown, because it's very confusing and like poetically strange. But then now that I'm rereading it, I'm going through and annotating like basically a different color for each theory that I have. I love it. I love this book. If you haven't read it, what are you doing? These next 2 are hard to part with because I love the covers and they are both 5 stars, but they are Dark Matter by Blake Crouch and Recursion by Blake Crouch. Here's the thing. I love these books. These are fantastic. Like, this is the closest to a sci-fi 5-star that I would ever get. I mean, they are both sci-fi 5 stars. You understand. I don't like sci-fi. I don't read a lot of it, but these are so thrilling, so fantastic. Highly recommend these books if you like sci-fi, if you like thrills, if you want to read something that feels like a movie, these books 100%. But the thing is, I would just listen to the audio, because I listened to the audio and followed along with Dark Matter and liked the audio more than physically reading it. And then with this one, tried to do the same thing, ended up only listening to the audio because it was a better experience for me. And I love the spines. I love that they really, really work with a rainbow shelf. I'm talking myself into keeping them, but I don't need it. I don't need it, because am I going to reread it? No, I would just watch a movie. I would watch a movie about it. I don't know. No, Katie, I don't need these. I'm getting rid of them. This next book, I'm surprised I could hold on to it for long enough to make this video. Nevernight by J. Kristoff. This book, I'm going to go ahead and apologize to anybody that likes this book. You're going to need to just put me on mute for the next 30 seconds. 30 to 45 seconds. Okay, are you gone? Perfect. This book is trash. This book is, it's terrible. It's horrible. It's terrible. I got to 75% and I DNF'd it and gave it 1 star. There's nothing that was going to happen in the end of this book that was going to make up for all the things that happened in the first 75%. And that sucks, because there is a lot of hand-picked things, like in Gideon the Ninth, that I did really like. There is so much possibility, the premise, the world building, some of the character development. Fantastic. The writing style is horrifying. It's horrifying. It's so bad. Like, there's like a lot of, okay, here's a perfect example. The annotation, this whole chunk right here is one annotation for one thing. What? And it's all like historical blurbs. It's just like him telling you the history. Like, say if somebody mentions a name, he'll put an asterisk next to it, and then there'll be like 3 paragraphs of talking about the history of whatever name they're talking about. And I'm like, I didn't ask to read a history book. Also, could you not have like shown me instead of telling me? It's annoying. It's annoying. And then also the hyperfeminism in this book is so astronomical. I can't stand it. But then it's also not feminist at all, because, okay, like say the main character, he's always talking about, like, everyone is always talking about like how skinny she is, how pale she is, but she's not pretty. She's not pretty. Oh, she's not like other girls. She's down to earth. I'm like, J. Kristoff, stick it back in your pants. Like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, have you ever seen like an edgelord, like a ninth grade edgelord that like has their giant headphones in. So it's like, don't talk to me. I'm in my emotions. And they've got like a ton of smudge black eyeliner under their eyes that's been there for like an entire week because they don't shower. And they're just sitting there like drawing in one of those leather bound, like ratty ass sketchbooks. And they're drawing this like big boobed anime version of their perfect woman. And she's got a bunch of blades strapped to her G-string. That's Jay Kristoff writing Mia Carrera. I swear to God. I want to feel bad for trashing this book because so many people like it. But if I had read this years and years ago, like when did this come out? If I had read it when it came out, this would be a different story. When did this book come out? 2016. I mean, I don't even, maybe in 2016, I would have liked this when I was younger. He dedicated this to his sisters. Jay Kristoff. I can't believe you have sisters. I can't believe that the guy that wrote this has sisters. I need to stop talking. I'm sure I am infuriating. Like, I'm sure that I am enraging the internet right now. But this is an unhaul. I'm so glad to see it go unhaul. Okay, that is 22 books that I'm going to be unhauling as of the beginning of October. Now I'm going to cut to a clip of the end of October to see what else I ended up getting rid of. Hey, hello, it is the end of October. Katie popping in again to tell you the books that I have since decided I will be parting ways with, or books that I read in October that I'm not going to keep, which are most of them because I don't keep many of the books that I read. I only keep like 5-star books usually, and I read like 25 books of my TBR in October. I know, I'm shook. What the heck? Also, if there's like a weird light glaring, like, listen, there's nothing I can do, okay? I have boobs. I'm a girl. Like, we've all seen them, all right? Or at least I hope you have. You know, if you haven't, live a little. Anyway, the first 2 books that I'm going to talk about are 5-star books. Absolutely obsessed with these. And it's not that I'm getting rid of them because I don't want them. It's because I am going to be gifting them to a friend. The first of which being The Ark for Loveless by Alice Oseman, and the second being The Ark for Bunny by Mona Awad. Now, this one I found in a little free library because there's someone that lives in my neighborhood that gets arcs. I don't know who they are, but what the heck? And then this one was sent to me by a lovely subscriber. That's so incredibly sweet. Loveless is one of the most important books that I've ever read to me, and Bunny is one of the best books I've ever read. So I'm going to be kind of gifting this into my workplace book community and passing these books around. I already let one girl that I work with borrow this and she loved it. So I'm going to put these into the pool and be like, these are some of my favorite books, so you should check it out, read them, and see if I can get some people that I work with into this book community. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you the 2 books that I cannot make my mind up about. I don't know if I want to get rid of them or not, and it's these 2 books by Katrina Leno, Horrid and Summer of Salt. I read You Must Not Miss and just did not vibe with it, was not a fan. I didn't like dislike it. I gave it, I think, 2.5 stars. I was like, ugh, I don't know. And I've heard that you have to really like Katrina Leno's writing style. Like, that's what her books are about. And I am not somebody who gives books good ratings based on writing style. Like, that will bump up a rating, but it will not make the rating at all for me. But I heard that this one, like, people have said that they thought I would like this. I don't know. Like, what do y'all think? Like, I didn't like You Must Not Miss. I don't know. Like, y'all are gonna have to sound off in the comments because I cannot make up my mind. Fence Volume 1 and Volume 2. Now, I love these. I love these so much. I think they are highly underrated. I never hear anybody talk about these. They're so good, but they are being made now into novels instead of graphic novels. And I don't like that. Like, I never like when novels are made about graphic novels. So there's only like 3 volumes, and I think there might be a 4th one, but I have read almost all of it, and I ended up reading the 3rd volume on my phone or on my Kindle because I'm just like, listen, like there's only 4 volumes and then it's made, I don't know. I'm just annoyed because the story's continuing, but it's in novels and I don't care to continue that. So even though I love these and I definitely recommend them, I'm not going to continue the journey, and I don't want to have just part of the journey, I guess. So I'm going to gift these to somebody who maybe is okay with picking up the novels in the end. I know. Stranger Dreamer, and Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. I want to hold on to these because I'm really hoping that I will reread them in the future and love them. I gave Stranger Dreamer 3 stars. There were a couple moments, as you can tell, that I really liked, but I just didn't really care. And then Muse of Nightmares, as all my books fall on the floor. It's totally fine. I'm getting rid of them anyway. No big deal. Anyway, one of my favorite characters, Mina, in this book is one of the main characters in this book, and she is such a simpering asshole in this book. Like, she's just so annoying and just so frustrating. And I really didn't like that. They did Mina so dirty, and I'm butthurt about it, so I DNF'd this book. And I love the covers of these so much. There's so much of this concept, of this world building, of these characters that I really like, but it just didn't hit the mark for me. And maybe one day I'll pick them back up, but I'm not going to keep them on my shelf because they're just taunting me at this point. Yikes, I just found another one that I'm not sure about, and it's Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. I loved this book. It's disturbing. It is scary as shit. Like, oh my God, this literally made me so mad and so scared reading this. But I don't know if I'm going to want to read it again in the future because it is like disturbing. It is disturbing. Like, it's not a horror, but like it should be a psychological horror. It's such like, it's all about gaslighting. It is about grooming, pedophilia, basically. Like, it's just not okay. And I don't know if I want to read it again. And I don't know if I want to like talk about it. Like, I love that Tiffany D. Jackson wrote it. It needs to be written, but I don't know. The cover's stunning and it is yellow. I love a yellow moment, but I don't know if I should keep it. And then I could just listen to the audio, I guess. I don't know. I'm like leaning towards getting rid of it, but it is a really good book. You let me know. Definitely getting rid of Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour. I was so bored reading this book. Like, nothing happens. Nothing happens. I gave it 2 stars. I'm getting rid of it. Like, I literally can't tell you anything about this book other than that she goes to a farm and there's a bunch of kids there. And maybe there's ghosts. I don't know. Kind of similarly, Girl Serpentthorne by Melissa Bashadoust. I just didn't care. Like, I think it's good, you know? I think that there was potential. I ended up DNFing this at 60% because I just didn't care to keep reading. Nothing wrong with the book. It wasn't enticing me. It wasn't the right moment for me. And I don't hear enough buzz about this book to like feel inclined to hold on to it, to hope maybe one day I want to read it. I don't think that day is going to happen. Not a Happy Family by Sherry Lapina. I love this. It was so much fun. I didn't like the ending, but that's, you know, neither here nor there. The rest of the book is really good. And Sherry Lapina is a very fast, fun, flashy writer. I love her for it, to be honest, but I'm not going to reread this. And I would much rather give it to somebody who doesn't know what's going to happen and can be very intrigued by it. But I've already gotten what I could out of the book and it's time to let it go. The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. I read this. I gave it 2.5 stars, I think. Yeah, I gave it 2.5 stars. I really like the setting. I really like the characters, the side characters. I really liked the plot, but this is supposed to be a romance, and like, bitch, where? There is no, they have no chemistry. The magic element of this book is the disappearing chemistry. There's literally no chemistry between these characters. I don't believe you for a single second. Like, you're telling me that these people dated when they were in high school for a summer, and before the summer was over, he told her, like, oh, actually, I'm betrothed. And she was like, get out of my house. And then 10 years later, they've been thinking about each other every day for 10 years. I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it. I didn't like it. Let's move on. These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I really like this book. I really did. I gave it 4 stars, like, shockingly. It's probably, in honesty, more of a 3.5, but I gave it 4 because it was a way gorier than I thought it was going to be, which I loved. And I'm definitely planning on picking up These Violent Ends when it comes out, but I don't plan on reading this physically because I listened to this audio, and I don't plan on reading These Violent Delights physically either because I liked this a lot, but I didn't love it, and I didn't like, it's not a book I'd want to physically read. It's just like a fun time. So I'm gonna let this one go because if I'm not planning on purchasing the physical book for These Violent Ends, why do I need to hold on to the physical book for These Violent Delights? The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. Another really good book, another 4-star. This is very atmospheric, so atmospheric. The writing is stunning. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, I wish this had been a standalone. If this had been a little longer and it had been a standalone, I would keep it. I probably would have given it a 4.5 or something, but it's going to be a series. I don't really understand why, and I don't care to pick up the rest of the series. I got what I wanted out of this book, and I'm not going to hold on to it because like there's no ending, like, you know, it's a series, and I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, I got what I wanted. I can recommend it because I do think it's beautiful, but it didn't like give what I thought it was going to give. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to let it go. Yet another 4-star, Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Neon. Very surprised at how much I ended up liking this. This had been on my TBR for so long. Oh my God. But I feel similarly, as in the reasoning that I'm getting rid of this, as I do about The Year of the Witching, where even though I really liked this book, I really did, I was surprised, I don't want to pick up the next one. I don't want to. I don't care. Like, the ending was like, you know, I don't want to continue. It was good. I'm okay with thinking of it as a standalone, and I don't think I'm ever going to reread it. I think the world building was very weak, incredibly weak, and all of the side characters are so great, and the main character is like super weak in comparison, which was kind of frustrating, but she's so fine. And the girl, like, there's a sapphic romance that is like amazing, so I recommend it, but I don't care to keep it. Let's copy and paste everything I just said onto this book, Malice by Heather Walter. Now, I liked it, certain parts of it a little bit more. So I think that I liked the sapphic romance of, I forgot what it was called, Girls of Paper and Fire, more than this one. And this is also a sapphic book. I liked the romance, but I liked the romance of the two girls and Girls of Paper and Fire more. But I like the world building in this more. I like the character development in this more. And this is one that you could talk me into reading the second book. You could talk me into it, especially because it's only going to be a duology. Love to see it. I don't need to read the second book. I am okay with the way it ended. I don't really understand what the second book is going to be about, but I don't know. I liked it. I enjoyed it. If you like Disney retellings, but you want it to be a little darker, a little grimmer, and you want some gay shit to happen, I would suggest this, but this is really chunky and I liked it enough, but I'm not going to physically ever read it again, so I'm going to pass it on. Okay, now we're getting into my worst books of October and some of the worst books of the year. Good Lord, did October do me dirty. None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney. Look at this cover and how fucking stunning it is. I'm upset. How dare this book not be amazing? Here's the thing. I have a very similar kind of opinion about this as I did Scythe, and Scythe is a book that is very well loved in the book community, very well loved. And this is also a book that has been getting stellar reviews, like really good. I did not like it for the same reason I didn't like Scythe, and it's how immature the YA-ness of the book is and how YA tropey the book is. Like, this really relies on the tropes of like the nice guy, not like other girls, the chosen ones, I'm different, I'm so different, the pick-me girl. It's just so, I didn't like that. And I just feel like it's basically like where you take two teenagers and how are they being respected when they're literally making these stupidest decisions of all time? And like, oh, this one girl is the one who can save everyone. And no, I didn't like it. Okay, I gave it 2 stars. The concept is good. It's like a Silence of the Lambs reimagining. It's like literally a direct carbon copy of Silence of the Lambs, but with teenagers. I gave it 2 stars. I'm letting it go. No, listen. These last 2, truly 1-star, horrifying. I'm begging you not to read these books. Good God. The first of which is going to be Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. Now, here's the thing. The concept of this book is fantastic. And then it's like a haunted house and everything. Kill Creek is the name of the house. The haunting whole shit about the house is really good. The backstory and like all of that about the house, fantastic. And the whole thing that it's about like horror authors and the main characters are horror authors, awesome. That's where it ends, because Scott Thomas is such a mean girl. He's such a mean girl because there's so much fat phobia in this book and it's blatant. Like, I don't understand why nobody's talking about it. Like, I really don't get it. Like, am I going to have to be the person that's on the blowhorn, like just shouting about this from the rooftops? Because I need to open your eyes, open your ears, whisper in your ear, hey baby, listen, honey, take a look at yourself and what you're reading and just think about how much it hurts people. It hurts people a lot. Because this book is hurtful. It is just, it's disgusting. The way that he talks about one of the characters in this book that's overweight, it's horrifying. It is truly horrifying. And I am horrified that I'm even holding this book up on my channel. But I'm doing it because I want to tell you not to read this book. Disgusting. Anyway, the other book that I absolutely hated was Hairpin Bridge by Taylor Adams. Whoo! This is such a 1 star. Like, I'm saying it with my full chest, okay? This book is bad. It's a bad book. It's not like, oh, it's just like, oh, it's problematic or, oh, it's boring. No, the book is bad. Like, it is bad at every turn. At every turn. It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, at all. At all. You're telling me that the 2 main characters in this book are both separate, identical twins? That doesn't make sense. That's like the improbability of that, for starters. Also, there's a shootout scene that happens for 100 pages. What? Do you know how many times somebody gets shot in those 100 pages? Like, no times. Like, 0 times. It's fucking embarrassing. How do you have that much ammunition in the middle of the desert? How are you missing that many times in the middle of the desert when there's nothing to hide behind? I'm so confusion. And then also, there's a car chase scene that lasts 100 pages. This book is only like a little bit over 300 pages, and 200 of those 300 pages are 2 different action sequences. What? And then also in the very beginning, the main character says that she's basically like writing this story about her sister and that she made a lot of it up. And I was like, Taylor Adams, don't tell me in the very beginning of the book that not only is the main character unreliable, but she's literally telling me to my face that she made this shit up. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. These 2 I got unsolicited, and I do not think I'm going to be picking them up, and I've never heard about them before, and it is You Don't Need to Be a Bitch to Be a Boss. Great title. I don't know why somebody sent this to me, but I mean, thanks to whoever did it, but I don't think I'm gonna read this. And then Mina and the Undead by Amy McCaw. I like this cover. I like that it's black sprayed edges, but I've never heard of this before, and I don't know. It's like a YA, and I don't know if I really want to read like a YA kind of fantasy, kind of contemporary. I just don't know if I'm intrigued. If you guys have heard of this book, I'm going to hold on to it for a little while. If you've heard of it and you think I should read it, let me know. Oh my God, that is so wild. I just counted them and it's 22 books. And at the beginning of October, I unhauled 22 books. What? That is kismet. Okay. I feel like that means that I need to get rid of the ones I'm on the fence about. I'm not going to. I'm going to wait for your comments, but it feels like kismet. Okay, so that means that I'm getting rid of a total of 44 books before I move. That's incredible. And the fact that I read 25 of them in October, like, I'm blown away. I'm clearly doing a great job. If you want to follow me on Goodreads or Instagram, they are going to be linked down below because you're going to see more of my reviews on these books and more of my thoughts about the books that I unhauled on my Goodreads, as well as pictures and discussions of them on my Instagram. If you want to follow me, they are going to be linked, and there is going to be a myriad of other links regarding this channel if you want to check them out. And let me know what you want to see me do in my new apartment, because this will be coming out when I have already moved. Ooh, God, I'm scared. Anyway, all of that to say, we're reeling it in. All of that to say, have an amazing day, evening, night, dusk, dawn, whatever it is you're having right now. And I will see you in a video coming very soon. Bye.